In the last training, we took a look and saw why some domains sold for crazy amounts and how you can reverse engineer the whole thing and get your domains to sell for crazy prices just like that. And we saw the 3 key components that you should consider before buying a domain to ensure that you make insane profit from it. Now, in this particular training, we are going to see what you actually need to kickstart this business and some of the factors, the things you should consider before even thinking of picking up a domain name. This is very, very key. This training, this part of the video is very, very important. Now, of course, for the things you need, you can see that you need a laptop and internet connection. You cannot go into any kind of online business without a laptop and internet connection. Though there are some online businesses you can still do with a phone, with a smartphone, but it is still very, very, very much easier, and you find things flowing very, very well for you if you have a laptop for your online business. This is an indisputable fact. Now, still on domain flipping, what you need funds to kickstart your domain business. It is not a freelancing platform, so you are going to need funds to buy domain names, to buy the asset that you will later sell off for a higher price. You can actually get them cheap for $12. Some places is even less than that, some $67 to $100, and there are some premium domain names that you goes for as much as $100,000. Yes. So the next thing, you have gotten the funds to buy these domain names and perhaps get some trainings. The next important thing is a domain hunting software. There are so many domain hunting software in the virtual real estate niche, that's the domain flipping niche, and I am going to be showcasing them to you as we flow along with the training. Then I will give you a recommended one. The ones that I've used, you will see them, and the ones that I'm using right now, you also get to see them. And the thing about domain hunting software is that they make life easier for you, so that you hunt for a large number of good quality domain names for a very, very short amount of time, and you can sell off. For some of these software, some of these apps, you can even sell off right from within the domain hunting software. Then those are some of the things you are actually going to need to kickstart the domain business. Now, for what to consider, I decided to join these two up together. Then for what to consider before you even think of buying a domain name. Now, the very first thing you consider, the very first thing I will ask you and show you that you should consider is that you should avoid any domain name that has special characters like underscore, like hyphen, and like a question mark, like exclamation mark. Let me just explain so that you understand what I mean. Now, for let's say my name now, www. You now have Daniel underscore Ogbeifun.com. Avoid anything. This is a special character underscore. Avoid it like the plague. Or you now have something like this, hyphen. Avoid it also. Or special characters, you now have maybe you have something like what. You see exclamation mark there. So you avoid anything that has to do with special characters. It is not good at all when you consider selling your domain for big bucks. Now, another thing you need to consider is that you should avoid copyright, any form of copyright infringement. What do I mean? Maybe Facebook now. Facebook is a brand, and then Coca-Cola or Guinness, you now decide to get a domain name for, maybe you get something like, you now buy a domain name, see something like Facebooks. My dear, if you buy a domain like this, www.facebooks.com, you are going to get yourself into trouble. You will end up losing that domain to get taken from you. So avoid anything that has any form of copyright infringement. Or you now get have something like Guinness, maybe you remove one S from the tail end of it, it's still Guinness. So all these are copyright infringement. You are stepping on people's trademark. You will not get away with it. Aside losing the domain name, you might even be sued to court. So avoid it like the plague. Now, another thing you might want to consider as well, and that you should consider, is the domain extension. Where in this era, it is not as stringent. This criteria is not as stringent as it was before now, because I showed you earlier on, you saw domain names.net being sold for also crazy amount. But if those were .com, it would have sold for even more higher amounts. So when you are considering domain extensions to buy, you first of all, you have to consider the .com. These are top level domain extensions. Then you have .net and you have .org. Some other geolocated domain extensions do sell, especially if they are aged and they have a lot of traffic and backlinks already coming to them. Then extensions like there are so many of them, like info.realestate.xyz. So they still sell. But if you want to get a domain name, if you are into domain flipping, always go for the .com extension. It still carries more value than any other extension that we have around now. So these are, then finally the last but not the least, and I saved the most important for the last. Now, you need to consider domain name selection. Now, what do I mean? If you are getting a domain name, whether for flipping or not, especially for flipping now, since this is what we are talking about, you should get a domain name, select a domain name that is brandable. It is, take for instance, google.com. Google is brandable, and it should also be short. Google is short, or two-word domain name. A word domain name is okay, but if you cannot get that, a two-word domain name is very, very okay. Take for instance datarecovery.com, facebook.com. These are two-word domain name. So you go for something when selecting a domain name, for something that is brandable and easy to remember, and that is it. So these are the things you need to start this business, as well as those things that you need to consider before when you are getting into the domain flipping business. Thank you and God bless. I will see you in the next training.